What's up, YouTube? This is True Raw 4 TV. Well, the Dallas Cowboys lost again, embarrassingly so, at home to the Houston Texans. I think the final score was 34-10 on Monday Night Football. The Cowboys have had some ridiculously awful performances over the years, especially at home. And they set a record last night. They became the first NFL franchise ever. Remember now, at least since they've been tracking these things, the NFL goes back to the 1920s. The Cowboys became the first NFL team to have at least 6 consecutive games at home, trailing by at least 20 points at some point during the game. That's historically awful. What is their record like? 3-6, 3-7 now? I think it's 3-7. They're historically awful. And Dallas Cowboy fans have already been fed up for a while, but now they're seriously fed up. And they've turned on Jerry Jones. They've turned on him. You could blame, injuries. You could blame the coach, Mike McCarthy. I think he'll be fired after this year. You could blame a lot of different things. You could blame that stupid stadium with that flaw, that design flaw where the sun is just beaming on the goddamn field and it's causing problems with vision. Although you could argue the opponents are having the same problems, but they shouldn't be having their problems anyway. It's robbing them of touchdowns. The end zone is robbing them of being able to see, have a clear vision of the field. At the end of the day, the one constant is Jerry Jones. He's the one constant. And it's been a string of bad decisions. First of all, he comes into town. He purchases the Cowboys for $140 million in 1989, I think it was. And the first thing he does is fire a legend. He fires a legend in Tom Landry. The same guy that won 2 Super Bowls, made 6 NFL title championship game appearances. That guy, the most beloved coach, I think, at that time in the NFL, or at least the most respected. And you fire him. Why? Because you're an egotistical asshole. And you think that, you come in and it's going to be a new era. Because I think at the time the Cowboys had a little bit of a nadir from their glory days of the 70s. So you make the unpopular move of firing him. You hire Jimmy Johnson, who many people thought at the time, you don't take coaches from college. They don't really usually translate very well to the pros. Jimmy Johnson, I think, was from Miami, or coached Miami Hurricanes. But it worked. You had the beginnings of a dynasty there in Dallas. You went back-to-back Super Bowls in 1992 and 1993. But your ego got in the way again. You didn't like the fact that Jimmy Johnson was being credited as the genius, the guru who was leading the team to Super Bowls. And it was apparently, some gathering where Jimmy Johnson said something that you didn't find flattering. He bruised your ego, and then you fire him. You hire Barry Switzer. You get one more little residual Super Bowl, but then, players retire. Uh, Emmitt Smith lost a bit of lost a step. And then the Cowboys slowly began to recede from the top of the NFL hierarchy to being a good team, but not longer a Super Bowl championship team. And then they get supplanted by teams like the Packers and Troy Aikman and the Broncos had their little back-to-back run, and then the Cowboys recede, and then begins the coaching carousel. After Barry Switzer, comes Chan Gailey, and then Dave Campo, and then Bill Parcells. Even he couldn't save the franchise. Then Wade Phillips, then Jason Garrett, and now Mike McCarthy, who probably is coaching his last season with the Dallas Cowboys. Then comes some of the bad signings, whether it's sometimes players who were big names. They got signed to big contracts, but their production with the Cowboys did not mirror at all the production they had with other franchises. But in recent years, it's been more Jerry Jones as general manager and de facto dictator of the Cowboys, playing it safe. And look, on one end, the Dallas Cowboys are successful. I believe they're the most profitable sports franchise in North America, if I'm not mistaken. Jerry Jones's net worth has doubled in 5 years. Doubled. I think when he bought the team, he might have been worth $500 million. In 2019, he was worth $8 billion. Now he's worth almost $16 billion. Hell, but it's across the board and throughout the world. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poor. And they distract us with all this identity politics BS. But anyway, getting back to him, sometimes I wonder if Jerry Jones is more concerned about being profitable, the Cowboys, I should say, being profitable, and less about winning. Don't get me wrong, he's 82 years old. He does want to win one more Super Bowl before, look, reality, he knows that, he's getting up there. I do think he wants to win, but I sometimes wonder if he wants to win as badly as the media likes to portray it. You know what I mean? And I think honestly, the media gives him way too many passes. When I say the media, I'm talking about television media. I'm not talking about sports media. I'm not talking about not sports media. Excuse me. I'm not talking about radio, sports radio. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about BSPN, fake sports. Most major corporate news media outlets that talk about sports, they don't really go in on Jerry Jones. But he's a decision maker. And when you look at how horrible they have been. Look, for a long time, the Cowboys were still winning, but they just couldn't get it done or get over the hump against the elite teams. But now it's to the point now where they're just awful. Mike McCarthy still has a winning record overall as a head coach. But over the last couple of years, the Cowboys have become an absolute joke. And every Cowboy fans I know say the same thing, and that is that Jerry Jones, he's the problem, and it's time for him to go. Or at the very least, finally cede control to someone else, another generation. Stop breathing down the necks of your coaches because your constant interference is holding this team back. At least that's just how I feel about it. Tell me what you guys think.